Hi, welcome to our introductory video on Occupational Health and Safety 365 or OHS 365. OHS 365 is a business solution developed with inside the Microsoft Dynamics 365 environment. It addresses the needs of companies in manufacturing for management of occupational health and safety, although it can be deployed in many types of organizations, as all organizations need to look after OH&S. My name is Gavin Hulse. I'm a chemical engineer, and a lot of my life was involved in designing plants that looked like this. Now, we spend a lot of time during the design effort in a chemical factory to make sure that the plant is intrinsically safe and that no accidents or incidents occur. But you must remember that a plant runs for 30 years, and in that 30 years a lot of things can go wrong, particularly because during operations everything requires human judgment and human involvement, and that's where mistakes can happen. It is a sad reality that every single minute there are 4 fatalities around the world in industrial-related accidents. This is a shocking statistic, because it means by the end of this webcast there will have been 80 people at least killed across the world in industrial accidents. To prevent this from happening to your own company, management has implemented a safety management system that is intended to make sure that these accidents don't happen and that the business is doing everything reasonably practicable to keep people safe and to make sure they get home at the end of their workday. In this short introductory video, I'm going to cover the OHS 365 solution together with Dynamics 365. We'll have a brief look at the challenges of safety management in the real world. We'll introduce OHS 365 as being your new home for managing safety, health, environment, and quality if you're a Microsoft Dynamics user. And we'll have a look at some of the core features of the product with some short demos, and finally we'll end with some benefits of the solution. If your company is already running Dynamics 365 and is looking for additional functionality within the occupational health and safety area, this video will be of interest to you as well. Or perhaps you might be evaluating Dynamics 365 as a potential ERP or business solution for your business, and are wondering what solutions are available on the market for addressing the occupational health and safety requirement. So Microsoft explained the key benefits of Dynamics 365 as follows: enabling you to engage your customers better, empowering your employees, optimizing your business, and transforming your products. We've added 2 additional benefits which are very important to companies in manufacturing, mining, energy, etc., and that is the need to operate safely and manage risk. These 2 additional areas are then serviced by the additional products OHS 365 and GRC 365. OHS 365 is the subject of this webcast, and we'll have another webcast covering GRC 365, which is the governance, risk, and compliance function. So when the board of a company meets, they have quite a number of things to manage together. They have to look after business performance, governance and compliance, and risk. And the directors have to ensure that all of this gets managed simultaneously. In practice, we find that there is a significant overlap between these things. If all of these things are working in harmony, business performance is excellent. Business is operated in compliance with the applicable legislation and is well governed, and risk is mitigated at every step along the way. That is why it's quite important that we implement very good supporting systems for risk and compliance and occupational health and safety, because if there is something flawed in any one of these areas, it's going to make the whole organization, if you like, sick. And so everything needs to be addressed equally and in balance with each other. There is a growing focus on occupational health and safety systems within business. Companies have found that if they manage their safety effectively, the knock-on effects is improved performance, and this is through better procedures and disciplines right the way throughout. Of course, you reduce the number of incidents, which helps protect the environment, reducing losses. As you reduce losses, you reduce costs of operation. You reduce unplanned shutdowns and breakdowns within the plant, and your costs of accidents and litigation is obviously reduced. Companies also have a duty of care to all their employees to make sure that the workers get home safely every day. They need to comply with legislation, and they need to mitigate against the inherent risks involved in all industrial operations. This combined requirement is actually quite complicated, and in practice there are several real-world problems around safety management systems. Often these systems are implemented in isolation from the main business system. The problem with implementing an isolated system is that you have poor integration between the different systems. You still have islands of information, and this means that reporting becomes difficult because you have to combine the information from multiple systems in a way that makes sense. Reporting is also slow and reactive, as opposed to being proactive and real-time. The goal is to integrate your safety management system into the rest of the business in a way that makes it ubiquitous and fully integrated. In this way, you reduce some of these problems. You improve compliance overall by having consistent processes across the business. You remove the need for manual processes. You don't have no disparate systems because everything operates in one system. Islands of information are reduced. Your reporting is real-time and consolidated. And because you're running one system that tracks all of your business processes, your communications are a lot more predictable and effective. So I'm going to show you what the Dynamics 365 environment looks like if you have not already seen it. It's quite easy to access the system. You simply open your standard Finance and Operations icon, which opens Dynamics 365 inside a web browser for you. What is good to note is that the OHS365 application works inside the Dynamics 365 environment. So there's no need for a separate application or a separate icon. When you open up the system, you get to the overall dashboard, which in my case shows a whole lot of different business processes that are supported within the system. Right in the middle, you might notice that there's the Occupational Health and Safety tile. This is a shortcut to the OHS365 functionality, and it's sitting in the same list as all of the other applications. So if I click on that, you go into what's called a workspace, and a workspace has been set up for you to give you access to your most frequently used information or your most frequently used business processes. For example, here, creating new inspections, recording new incidents, etc. And on the right-hand side, you are presented with a list of relevant, in this case, incidents, which I need to take action on. This workspace is configurable and has been set up for a particular client. And during a project, the consultants will work together with you to set up exactly what it is that you are looking for. OHS365 is built inside Microsoft Dynamics 365. By doing this, we get 1 + 1 = 3. Each of the two systems leverages the strengths of the other. Users of OHS365 get consistently managed business processes across the entire business. They can take advantage of the full power of modern Microsoft Dynamics 365. The benefits of all the research that Microsoft does becomes available to the OHS 365 applications. You can also use well-known Microsoft tools to analyze your data. In this example, we show that information out of Dynamics 365 is available in a dashboard form with inside Excel. You can either pull information using Excel, or you can push information from the Dynamics 365 applications into Excel. This allows you to put together dashboards that help you track and trend safety-related information. By using the Microsoft platform, you also automatically get mobile enablement. This means that you can start using your mobile device for safety and occupational health-related matters anywhere, anytime. When you realize that you can take your mobile device out into the field, you'll realize that a whole lot of new things might become possible in comparison to the previous systems that you might have been using. You can take your mobile device out into the field to do inspections using checklists out of the system. You can act on notifications from your device on incidents or non-conformances immediately they take place, wherever you might be. You can transact with the system. For example, you can capture information from operations out in the field, observations or inspections, or raise incidents or near misses. Finally, you can use your mobile device to get real-time insights from the system as you move around in the field or even outside the factory. In the rest of this webcast, I'm going to go through some of the functionality within the OHS365 application to give you a feel for what the system is capable of. And to do this, I've organized the functionality into 4 different areas as part of a, if you like, safety management system. It's not quite a safety management system, but at least helps you understand the context of the different processes. So we have prevention or prevent, we have mitigation, we have respond, and we have monitor. And within each of these 4 areas, we have a number of different processes that are supported by the OHS365 application. For example, under prevent, we've got safety plans, inspections, permit to work, and perhaps under monitor, we have occupational health, medicals, permits and licenses, etc. So let's take a look at some of these areas now, and I'll highlight some of these processes to give you an understanding of what is available with inside OHS365. Let's start with the prevention. Under prevent, we have an inspections process. Your inspections can be scheduled in advance based on calendar criteria or any other criteria. Each inspection can be associated with checklists. These checklists are predefined and ensure that whenever you do an inspection, you're following a clearly defined procedure. This is necessary for several compliance frameworks. Speaking of compliance frameworks, your inspections can be linked to any compliance framework. You may have an external framework, such as ISO 9000, or you might have your own in-house compliance framework. So overall, the inspections capability is well integrated within the compliance function to make sure that what needs to be done regularly is properly planned and then executed. Another key feature with inside OHS365 is your management of personal protective equipment, or PPE. PPE can be organized by work center or workplace, or it can be configured as being required for specific jobs. One example of this is to have your PPE specified for predefined jobs requiring a work permit. Using Dynamics 365's extensive inventory and warehousing capabilities, we can record PPE stores, issues and receipts, and we can reorder PPE using the system. This is one of the benefits of having an integrated system, because we don't have a separate inventory of personal protective equipment outside of the main business system. And of course, we can record PPE usage for each employee. Another very important safety process that's supported by Occupational Health and Safety 365 is the permit to work. A permit to work is required when doing hazardous work in the plant and ensures that all necessary hazards have been identified and all necessary precautions have been taken before people go out into the field and do work. The OHS365 permit to work capability allows you to control your permit processes and approvals. It allows you to manage your isolations even in the most complex environments. It helps make sure that you manage your precautions and the necessary PPE. And the system keeps a track of all the necessary authorizations and approvals that are needed to do dangerous work in the field. Let's take a look now at the mitigation area. Here we have risk identification, hazard identification, classification of hazards, etc., the mitigating measures and controls that you need to put in place, and so forth. So the risk management function allows you to set up risk matrices that can relate the likelihood and impact of an event taking place and rate it in accordance with your own risk categorization process. You can do risk assessments within the system, and the system keeps a track of all of the necessary information around the risk assessment. The system also allows you to record your mitigating measures and controls that are needed to make sure that your risks are controlled and that your residual risks are fully understood. Let's take a look now at the respond functionality. Here we have incident reporting and investigations. We also have management of claims, and we have management of the actions that are the result of any report or investigation. So incident managed within the system allows you to record very easily an incident and then classify it properly in accordance with your own business rules. You'll also see that you can manage the investigations that come out of any particular incident, and each investigation will result in a number of actions or tasks that need to be followed up to be implemented. And what you want to do is to make sure that all of these tasks are properly tracked and monitored so that your preventative measures are in place to avoid a repeat of the incident. And finally, if there's a claim against the company as a result of an incident, this can also be managed and tracked properly within the system so that you have full record keeping. So to illustrate how easy it is to raise an incident in the system, as an example, I'm going to go to the Occupational Health and Safety dashboard, as in the previous demo, and click on the Record a New Incident button. Now, when you record an incident, you want this process to be as simple as possible. So on the right-hand side, we are presented with very few fields to fill in. And the intention is just to get a record in the system as quickly as possible of exactly what happened. So in this example, we had a worker sprayed acid in eye from concrete cleaner. So what was happening? The guy was using a chemical out in the plant, which was designed to clean concrete, and it's got sprayed into his eyes. So we fill out a description, we put in the department. In this case, it happened in our operations area. The incident type, well, here we have a couple of choices which have been configured in the system. This was an accident. And the hazard, we will choose from a list. And the one that I want to choose here is the hazard acid chemicals. Now in another demo, we'll show you exactly how these hazards are set up. And finally, we just need to indicate where this happened, and this happened in our main warehouse. That's all that's needed. We press OK, and this particular incident has now been recorded in the system and can be acted on. The screen that you see now is an opportunity to capture additional information around this incident. So you can see a whole lot of additional fields that need to be filled in around the incident record, the incident itself, the interpretation, investigation, costs, claims, and other associations, etc. You don't have to fill all of this in immediately. If you go back to your Finance and Operations dashboard and Occupational Health and Safety, you'll see that this incident is now listed. Here we have it, worker sprayed acid, apologies for the typo, and the next person responsible for the investigation can click on this and fill out the additional information as required. So something I haven't yet shown you is that there's this hamburger menu on the left-hand side here. If you click the hamburger menu, you get shortcuts into all of the different functions within the system. And this applies across the whole Dynamics 365 application. In this case, I'm in the Occupational Health and Safety area, and you can see a whole lot of shortcuts to different aspects of the system, including hazards and the configuration of hazards. But while we're here, let's just have a look at some of the others. You can see here we have reporting an incident. You can also see some of the setup functionality here, and the setup is available for each of these different areas or business processes. Because I'm administrator, I'm getting to see a whole lot of stuff that your average user probably won't need to see, and this is then set up as part of the configuration during the project implementation. On the left hand side, you can also see that several of these links can be included as shortcuts, and what I've done is I've included a shortcut for the Occupational Health and Safety area. So let's get back to the original question, that is, how do we configure hazards? So I'm going to click on that hazards button, and that takes me to a list of the hazards that are pre-configured within this particular business. You can see that there's some basic information around the hazard, a description, the site if it's applicable, the classification of the hazard in order for reporting, and any notes. You can see any applicable areas. And what is quite interesting is that you can also see that hazards can be linked into risk registers. And so here you can start seeing some of the overlap between the OHS365 application and the GRC, or Governance, Risk and Compliance application. We can also capture emergency procedures against each of these hazards, and we can also link substances against each of these hazards. And the last set of business functionality I just want to cover briefly is the monitor. This is the area where we look at occupational health and safety statistics. We have a look at some of the exposures, occupational health exposure groups and medicals, and some of the permits and licensing capabilities of the system. So just to highlight a typical dashboard, this is out of Power BI, which is one of the reporting tools that we might use. This type of dashboard is very helpful to the safety managers and operations managers to understand where the company is in terms of its safety performance. We also can track occupational health related matters within OHS365. So these include areas such as industrial hygiene, medicals, tracking of incapacity, and tracking personal exposure levels across time in dangerous areas. Here I want to show you how you can take action on one of these incidents. So here we have a list of near misses on the workspace, and I'm going to pick one of these incidents that I might want to take some action on, just to illustrate something. So we open up the incident, and what I want to point out to you on the top here is that there are a whole lot of other options that you can then do on this particular incident. So for example, you can triage these incidents, or you can close them off. You can send an email notification to alert somebody else of this particular incident. You can create an activity, and here we can create either an action, an appointment, an event, or a task. Those of you who are familiar with Dynamics 365 will recognize these as being standard Dynamics 365 processes. And this again shows the power of having the OHS 365 within the main business system. Because then when you create an action, for example, these actions are then consolidated with all other actions for each employee, so that anybody who needs to see what they need to do either on a particular day or what their backlog is, they will have OHS actions or tasks in the list together with the other job functions like approved purchase orders, for example, etc. Finally, to summarize, I hope I have shown to you that there are many benefits of implementing the OHS 365 solution inside your business, ranging from leveraging the next generation of business applications that are inside Microsoft Dynamics 365 to improving your safety, health, environment, quality processes across your departments and silos, providing you with actionable insights in real time, and also providing you with improved controls, increasing visibility of all SHEC-related activities across the business. There's obviously a lot more inside the system than what I've had time to show you, and I encourage you to go to our website at www.axnosis.com to get more information. You can also have a look at this type of video on YouTube, where we include additional demonstrations, webinars, and videos for you. And contact us if you have any questions relating to this product. Our team of consultants are all certified in Dynamics 365 and are more than happy to help you work out what your requirement might be and how the OHS 365 solution might help you meet that requirement. Thank you very much for your time and for watching.